These cormos are really just mellowing out here. It's nice. I feel like one of them. End of trip reflections, number 2. I was thinking about something else as I was walking down the bike path here. You know, I started out, like, I wouldn't say I was sweet all the time. I was bratty, but I was pretty sweet. I was a nice person. I really believed in peace since I was a young kid. And I was, I think, much more loving and caring. And when I ask myself what happened, I don't think the romanticism is lost for me. Because I keep doing things in the way, and this is quoting Rosencrantz, in a fearless way. If I feel like it's messed up, I'm just going to jump up and do it in a fearless way. Like, I'm going to take off on this road trip and just let it happen. That part of me hasn't changed. The romantic part of me hasn't changed. But the cynicism and the mean-spiritedness that has been born out of basically being told that my thoughts are useless, worthless, and pointless in this society, that my beliefs are outside of it, and that there are very few people who share my thoughts. The isolation of that, coupled with a feeling that there are other places and other times in history when this wasn't true, has made me mad, like angry, and sometimes irrationally angry, because I can't believe the things that people think are important and the amount of time and energy they spend on them, like money, for example, and the amount of people who are just so completely convinced that making a lot of it at any cost, environmental, emotional, cultural, I mean, that's taken over now, this idea, basically. Look at this guy, he's nice. Did I get him? Yeah, there he is. Don't shit on me, please. Man, this cold still isn't gone. But that is the best way to go, or smart, or looking out for number 1, or, you know, those things I really haven't done. I've been very generous of spirit. I've given away everything. Well, most things. The things I have that I don't want to give away are because I think they're totally cool and unique, and for some reason nobody else seems to grasp that, or they look at them and they think they read them wrong. In the same way I feel that people read me wrong. And the vast majority of that, I'm not sure you can attribute it to racism as much as other cultureism, you know? Being born in India on the other side of the world, and being Tamil from the very south of India, and an ancient culture long before all of this, means that there's a kind of feeling of complete separation. And so there aren't very many people here. When I moved to this country, there were maybe, 150,000 Indians in the United States? When my father moved here, maybe there were 40,000 Indians in the United States. And our cultures are so different. And we weren't moving here like refugees, right? It's after the wars, it's after the 50s, it's after the golden age of the United States when we move here. And so what it told me all the time was, when I was a kid, hey, you're a real smart guy. You're an Indian guy, and you're smart, and you're sharp, and you're clever, and you're good at narratives, and you're kind of funny, and you're cute. Come on, be American with us. And so I signed up, and now, like, it feels as though, no, I've been a pet in the zoo for you for all this time. For the 36 years, 38 years I've been an American, I've been a pet in the zoo, right? You could say the same about, say, Schwarzenegger, an immigrant like me who came not out as a refugee, but, like, he's a pet in the zoo, but he agreed to do certain things to allow him to sort of, like, function in this zoo that I was unwilling to do, right? I'm still unwilling to do them, I suppose, and this is my problem. I mean, I've got to somehow overcome the belief that there's no place that I fit in the United States of America. I'm talking here about employment now. I'm talking here about contributing somehow, because right now I'm not really contributing. This is it. This is the extent of my contribution. Masturbatory pieces on YouTube and collage pieces that I make that are elaborate and extremely detailed and hardly understood by anyone who looks at them. Is that a night heron? Oh, that's beautiful. I think that might have been either a night heron or a blue heron that just went by. Really gorgeous. So what is the point then of this intellectual pursuit? I'm not an academic. I left the academy because I felt it was too corporatized. In the 90s when that all happened, I should have stuck it out, right? I should be an academic, but I'm unwilling to do that. Was unwilling to do that. Corporations, I don't know. There's very few I believe in anymore. Functioning in this new social media society, I suppose that's a good way. Creatively, I'm starting to think now to return to writing. That's what I think is the smart move here. Instead of doing this kind of stuff, improvisational, ephemeral performance, actually sit down and try to write something larger that changes the situation. Now that might be the next step here. But without support, without money, and with all my responsibilities, it's basically very difficult to achieve. I dream of the places like in Europe where support for artists and writers has always been. But that's nonsense, isn't it, really? You know, midlife, as I was saying earlier, has two sections for me. The one where I have to help this kid down here grow up, and the one where I have to help that guy down there die. And the invisibleness, the immaterial feeling that I have in the midst of that is what has spawned this packing and unpacking and gutting of the self over and over and over again. Because what is the purpose? What is my function? You know, it doesn't feel very full right now. Love? It's been a long time. The woman I loved, I guess, the most, gave me a beautiful son. And I love him, but he's at a point where I think he doesn't care anymore about my lunatic views, and he thinks of himself as having to fend for himself. Poor kid. He doesn't have to fend for himself, but he thinks of himself as having to fend for himself, you know? And I think he sees me as a romantic and an idealist and a good person and an intellect who can't fit here. And he's like, well, that's not going to help me. So he's trying to make his own way, right? And he's a born American right here in Los Angeles. He's a Los Angelino, you know? Hey, Los Angeles, let me tell you something. You've been great. I am amazed. I'm so happy and amazed with Los Angeles right now. The quality of this town, it's just gone uphill since I left. And I'm very proud that my son was born here, and I'm very happy that I have a strong feeling he's going to want to come back and live here. So you take care of him, okay? I bring him down a lot, so does his mother, so he knows his way around. Here comes that egret now. All right. Yeah, LA. Oh, look at that. Crazy. Look at that. There's a big old heron and an egret down there. Shall we walk down and take a look at them? Yeah, let's do.